Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be returning to a game that we haven't actually played on this channel in a little while, and that's because there's a brand new DLC pack which comes out today. I believe it unlocks a couple of hours after this video will post, so fair chance it's already out if you're watching this now, and that is Afghanistan 11. The DLC pack for Afghanistan 11 is Royal Marines, which adds the British Royal Marines to the game. Afghanistan 11, for those of you who may not remember, is a turn-based strategy game. It's a turn-based coin game, which is a counter-insurgency game, which takes place in Afghanistan, as you can guess by the title, and allows you to play as either the Americans or now the British through a series of scenarios as a part of the campaign, or in skirmish mode, where you attempt to either pacify a given map or attempt to essentially win, in some cases, military victories on these various maps through a whole host of options and tactics and whatnot. It is the sequel, or I don't know if it's really the sequel. It's a different game, but it's based on the same engine of Vietnam 65, which, as you can guess from that game, takes place in Vietnam and is a similar game, although taking place in the 1960s. Afghanistan 11 brings this game to the British forces in the conflict in Afghanistan. It adds a 10-scenario campaign. It also has a skirmish mode, which you're able to play as. In addition to that, there's some other interesting or unique things. So first off, the British Royal Marines mean they'll have their own units. So there's, the Americans have their own specialty units. The British have their own units as well. In addition to that, there are now civilian vehicles which are being added to the game. There are car bombs which are in the game. You can set up roadblocks. If you have a popular enough presence in an Afghanistan village, they may actually provide police forces to you to allow you to essentially more effectively govern or manage the region. There's additional information about gathering intelligence from villages, so you can already kind of get intelligence from villages, but there's less, I think, scripting, and it's more randomness at the time that the village becomes intelligenceable, I guess, if you will. There's now a limited capacity to the forward operating bases, so FOBs or forward operating bases are bases you can set up in the middle of the map beyond your initial sort of starting point that allow you to have fire bases essentially in the middle of the map. They've added some stack limits to those. There also is certain hearts and minds score triggers where once you have a high enough hearts and minds score, then you start to automatically hand control of a map or of a region over to the ISAF forces, so the Afghanistan local forces. There's some enhancements made to special forces, and then obviously there's a new and unique separate uniform here for the British. If you click on the American flag here, you get the American uniform. For the British, you get a new unique British uniform, which sort of deals with things like unlocking various awards or accomplishments in the game. With that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into the campaign here. You can see there are 10 scenarios in the campaign, ranging from April of 2002 to February of 2008, all based on historical operations, from Operation Condor to Operation, oh goodness, I can't pronounce that. We'll just say Operation Silver. You can see the difficulty options are all the same: rookie, regular, veteran, elite. I'm not very good at this game, so we'll stick to regular. And we're going to start off the British campaign in the first operation of the game, and we'll give it a go. We'll play a short video here. We probably won't finish the scenario, but we'll take a quick look, a quick peek at Afghanistan 11 Royal Marines. As you can see here in this scenario, it's taking place in April of 2002. A Royal Marine task force is being sent to Bagram Air Force Base as part of a 5-day operation to clear a high mountain valley searching for Taliban and Al-Qaeda forces. They deploy some 400 Marines. They start capturing large stockpiles of munitions, anti-aircraft munitions, things like that. They deploy additional Marines as the operation continues. The U.S. deploys some troops, and Afghanistan troops are also deployed. And by the end of it, by April 20th, there are more than 1,700 British Royal Marines deployed to the area. In this scenario briefing here, it gives you this little X on the map. This is, I believe, still the X that's used for the American forces, so they didn't update that, whatever. But it gives you a recommendation to keep supply trucks loaded with supply in your forward operating bases in case of an emergency. Okay. So we'll go ahead and jump in here. You can see we theoretically can drop a Moab. The Moab didn't exist in 2002, but it's a unique little thing in the game. We can deploy our forces to conduct search and destroy operations, thereby clearing the area of any Taliban presence. So our operation in this scenario is to clear the Taliban from this highlighted area, Objective Alpha. So just a little bit to the east of Totokil, and just a little bit to the ending, just a little bit to the east of Zermatt. So this sort of valley region, you can see here on the map, this is a road. This is a paved road that travels from sort of the central and eastern portion of the map down to the southern portion of the map, and then up north. This roadway is going through a valley here, through the town of Garders, and this is where we need to clear the Taliban from. There's 3 towns in the area. There are many other towns on the map. They're just not part of the area that we need to clear, and our starting base is this star figure down here in the bottom right. Additionally, our hearts and minds are going to start at 55. No intelligence about any of these other factors. We do know that there are the Afghanistan National Army training time in this scenario is 3 turns. We can have up to 5 Afghanistan Army mechanized units, 3 aircraft, and 3 artillery units. Logistically speaking, not a lot of information here other than there's 5 villages that are connected to this highway. Intelligence says there are 4 Taliban cadres and 4 opium crops. So opium crops are sort of a financing mechanism for the Taliban that allows them to pay for their operations. My understanding is the way this game works is destroying them not only gives you a boost, but also can influence the Taliban's ability to fight. So right now we know they have 4 units, presumably somewhere in this Objective Alpha, but maybe not. They could be elsewhere. The political liaison, which sort of gives different perks in this scenario, is Sadi Shahan. We need to rebuild this land, and he is a fundamentalist, which means that the Taliban's forces get 15% more missions they can do. He is a social reformer, however, which favors the British, which give you additional intel in the villages. Press freedom means that your hearts and minds actually gets hurt when you kill Taliban soldiers. So I guess press freedom means, there's probably collateral damage or whatever that it's modeling there. And then security, which means that PP on enemy kills up to 100%. I don't know what PP stands for. Political points, maybe? So you get additional... You lose hearts and minds for killing enemy units, but you gain political points for killing enemy units. And then as you can see here, this is our operation. There is the ability to drop 1 Moab. We're not going to do that right now. And we're going to go ahead and click on the map to zoom in. Here's our starting fire base, is the British. Here's all the villages you can see. And the operation, or the Objective Alpha, probably starts right around here. If we actually zoom out here and click on the map, you can see it starts just a little bit to the west of the river here, just after the first bend in the road after the river. So here's the bend in the road. So Operation Alpha, or Objective Alpha, starts here, which means we need to clear sort of this whole, can't really zoom out anymore, but sort of this whole sector of the map of Taliban forces. In addition to the Moab, which costs 4,000 political points, and I doubt I will use, we also have the ability to call in airstrikes, which have a 3-turn cooldown. We can call in emergency supply drops, which have a 1-turn cooldown. And we have the ability to bring in drone reconnaissance, which has a 3-turn cooldown. Our forward operating base is here. By the looks of it, this town has a campfire burning, which means that it is available. There's intelligence available in this village. There's also intelligence available in this village, this village, this village, this village, this village. So according to the initial inputs, there appears to be intelligence in pretty much every village. So we'll have to work with that. Now, if we click on the British base, you'll see here we start with 10 units as a part of this scenario. So we get 10,000 political points to buy more units, but we start with 10 units. We start with 2 Warthogs, which are basically British APCs, armored personnel carriers. You can transport troops, you can transport rations, and they're armored, so they have some defense against enemy attackers. There are 3 supply trucks, which we can use theoretically to transport troops, although they're unarmored, so that would probably be a poor idea. But we can also use them to transport supplies, fuel, aid, and those kind of things. We have 3 Royal Marine units, which are the British infantry in this game. And then we have 1 SAS unit, which is a Special Forces unit. In addition to that, we start with 1 Westland Lynx, which is essentially the British, it's not a Black Hawk, but it's the British transport helicopter, similar to the American Black Hawk unit. We can also call in some reinforcements, so we have 10,000 points to play with, and I am going to go ahead and do that. So I'm actually going to call in one British howitzer unit for 600 political points. I'm going to call in one Panama, which is the British version of a minesweeper. It's like a Humvee with a mine detection or destruction device in the front. That's 350 political points. I'm going to call in one more Westland Lynx. It's 2,250 points. It's a lot of points, but I want that additional air mobility. And then we're going to call in one Scimitar, which is like a tank, I think, or sort of a fighting vehicle with a bigger gun that can be used as kind of mobile artillery as well. Also, let's do one Terrier, which is the British engineering vehicle. So that's what we're going to do here. That gives us 15 units. We bought 5 units. We spent almost half our political points. That may be a little bit too much. But we'll see if we can manage. Now, immediately, so I don't forget, I'm going to go ahead and load my supply trucks up as well. So we're going to go ahead and load one of them with ammunition. We're going to load one of them with rations, and we're going to load one of them with fuel. So we're going to form a convoy with rations, ammo, and fuel to keep our forces moving. Additionally, we're going to immediately load our Warthogs up with some troops. So we'll go ahead and put some Royal Marines in these 2 troop transports, these 2 Warthogs. So, whoops, we'll go ahead and put troops in here. And we'll go ahead and put troops in here, both Royal Marines. Yeah. Okay, so in addition to that, we're going to go ahead and put a infantry unit here on this helicopter. Actually, we probably should buy one more Royal Marine unit. They're only 250 points, so they're not too expensive. We'll put one on this helicopter. Meanwhile, we are going to go ahead and start training Afghanistan forces here. We're going to go ahead and start training a ASV. We'll go ahead and start training an armored vehicle unit for the Taliban as well. I don't know if they have regular infantry. I'm not sure. We'll go ahead and start training that. I think that's free, actually, training local Afghanistan forces. So that's good. Okay, so with that being said, the first thing I'm actually going to do here, now that I've got my initial sort of units set up, is I am going to start making immediate progress toward the objective. We're going to go ahead and get our Terrier or Panama on the road, and that's probably where you're going to see the majority of ambush opportunities or anti-personnel mines or IEDs, but it's a Panama, so it actually detonates these things, drives over them and blows them up. So go ahead and do that. And then we're just going to kind of form a convoy behind it of our other vehicles. So immediately right behind that, we're going to go ahead and send in our... what should we send in? Our Juliet Squadron, our Scimitar, which is basically like our tank. I'm assuming it's more heavily armored, so it has a little bit of protection. It might not need to be in front. And then we'll go ahead and start sending in our Warthogs, which are like our troop transports with those infantry units in them. Doesn't look like they can both get all the way there. After that, we're going to go ahead and send in our Terrier, which actually can fit between here. So that's our construction vehicle. And then we're going to go ahead and send in our 3 supply trucks behind all of that. So by the looks of it, they can't even make it far enough to keep up. You can see here, this one is full of ammunition. That doesn't look like a tempting target at all. Just look at those artillery rounds on top of the damn thing. The fuel truck and the rations truck. All right, so those 3 trucks will start their movements. Meanwhile, my Westling Lynx helicopters are going to start to sort of sweep the villages up here to the east and to the north. So I'm trying to get immediate intelligence about enemy activities. So I'm going to get one of these helicopters with troops on it flying north. He's going to deal with the 3 villages to the north. He can't get there on this first turn, but that's fine. I'm assuming we won't have to deal with too much in the way of enemy action here on the first turn. And then the second Lynx chopper is going to go ahead and fly actually ahead of the convoy to this village here and sweep it. Well, yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and drop these troops here in this village. It's going to be kind of like a forward scout, if you will. So we'll go ahead and drop them. And then we'll go ahead and have the troops move into the village. Immediately, we got some intelligence that there's an enemy opium field all the way up here, sort of on this northern edge of the valley, on this mountain ridge. And then actually we've got enough points, so let's go ahead and pick these soldiers back up. Let's go ahead and fly them as much as we can to the north. We're going to drop them on this other village, which has intel as well. Yeah. So we just sweep this village, and I think that about does it. We've got one more unit that still has orders. I don't want to move the Warthog ahead of the Panama, though, because I don't want to risk it getting hit with enemy attacks. Meanwhile, we've got a howitzer here, which does have the ability to cover our troops at the moment. So if any surprise enemy units show up, we are in artillery range, so that's good. We'll go ahead and end this turn. That one unit, the howitzer, doesn't have orders. That's fine. And again, we'll move into turn 2. So turn 2, Hearts and Minds score up here is 5,500. Political will is 4,958. We're going to immediately get these troops on this chopper into this town. So go ahead and fly the helicopter up here. It'll land in this sort of oasis area, and the troops will move into the town, and they get sort of a 1 Hearts and Minds score. So, yay, congratulations, you did your job. Now let's fly you into the valley toward probably where there's some Taliban troops, because we are starting to fly toward our objective, but there's another town over here with intelligence. The chopper flying north is going to go ahead and drop troops in the northernmost town, and then it's going to work its way south. So I don't think it'll have enough to get more than one town, but that town just gave a +1 Hearts and Minds score and told us that there's an IED here, so there's a mine here on the road that they made us aware of, so that's good. You know, we'll go ahead and pick these troops up. And then we'll go ahead and try. I don't know if the troops can make it, but we're going to drop them here. See if they can march into this town a couple of hexes. They can. +1 Hearts and Minds score, -3 political points, and we cleared this village as well. So the next turn we'll try and clear this northernmost village, which we should be able to, I think. And then this chopper will clear this village over here. Meanwhile, we don't really have a lot of intelligence about what's in front of us, but we're going to go ahead and drive the Panama down this main road. And probably right into an ambush, but we'll see. And see, it just drove over that bridge. We got 250 political points for clearing an IED. So you do get some political points for clearing IEDs. The good guys clearing IEDs. Meanwhile, we can bring our convoy in right behind it. All these roads are clear of enemy explosive devices. So we can go ahead and follow this cleared road. And you can see, obviously, that we can move much further across paved roads. But, of course, paved roads are a disadvantage in some sense because you do risk the enemy ambushing you or doing whatever, and that can be problematic. So we're actually going to probably build our fire base right around here, probably next turn, if the enemy doesn't strike us first. Meanwhile, you can see here this Warthog isn't on the road yet, so it uses more movement points across this open ground, so it can't quite keep all the way up with the main force, and as a result is going to fall a little bit behind. The convoy forces are going to fall way the hell behind, which is probably an issue. I'm going to need to come up with a better way to protect them. There is a convoy system in the game, which I don't fully understand, but crap. Well, hopefully there's no Taliban back here, because these guys are going to be sitting ducks with, like, ammo and shit in them. They are within support range of our Where'd our howitzer go? Did I do something to my howitzer? Oh, no, it's right here. They are in range of howitzer support, but I think by the time that becomes relevant, it'll be far too late. In any event, we'll go ahead and move forward one more turn. Sort of taking the risk. All right, so we move forward. No additional activities occurred, so we'll go ahead and drop our troops on this village. And +1 Hearts and Minds, but nothing else. Pick them up. We're going to go ahead and drop the troops into this, just north, into this village. Move into there, and then you can just tell they detected another IED. Oh, this other village in the north is also uncovered. There. Drop them in this village. Another IED location discovered. Hearts and Mind score actually went up 1 since our last turn. If we go back into the main screen here, we can see Civil Affairs. We get 0.1 Hearts and Mind score for mines cleared, 0.3 for village visits. I don't know how accurate this is about Afghanistan. I don't know if village visits necessarily would be a positive thing in Afghanistan. They'd probably mostly just want to be left alone. But it's a game. It is what it is. You can see here 1 Afghanistan unit in training, logistics. We've gained 250 political points. We've spent 294 in logistics. There are 5 Taliban cadres now. Before there were 4. There's also 4 militia cadres. So we've got 9 enemy units to deal with. And what it is. Meanwhile, we could drop a Moab, but we're not going to. All right, so that's a thing. Let's build a... Can't... Damn it, I can't construct it in this valley. I can only construct it in sort of clearings. So I think I've got to go deep into this valley to construct a forward operating base. Meanwhile, I'm pretty damn nervous about moving these troops unprotected. Do 1 more Panama. 1 more Royal Marine. And a Warthog. I just spent a ton of points, mainly to try and get some additional escorts for these vehicles that are going to be moving through some hostile territory. Potentially hostile territory. So we'll have 2 Panamas. I don't know why the ammo truck is leading the way, but it is. Then have this Warthog kind of going in the middle. Put these guys on the road. Alright, so those guys are on the road, taking their time in the rear. Move our Panama up through the pass here. It's going to drive over several. Oh shit, ambush. Well, we've detected our first Taliban unit, and our armored vehicle took some damage. So we're going to go ahead and put a UAV over the top here to see what we can detect. So they ambushed us, and then they ran off over here to the hills. So where's our scimitar here? It can fire ranged shots at them. Only 46% chance of destroying them. I will take that. It's kind of my best odds. I could try and bomb them. That'd give me a 67% chance. What would that cost, though? Political points, 200. That's not too bad. Let's try and destroy him. There we go. We got him. You can see here they fell down dead, so we gained political points. We did lose 200 to the airstrike, but we actually gained more than we lost, I believe, from the combat. I think. Statistics. 1 engagement. Combat success rate is 0. Really? Oh, well, that was not the air raid. So we destroyed 1 unit. They went from 5 Taliban cadres and 4 militia cadres to 4 Taliban cadres and 4 militia cadres. ISAF casualty 1. That was our unit being wounded, and Taliban casualties 1 as well. All right. So let's drive these guys across these IEDs successfully, also gaining 250 political points for each IED that we destroyed. We just destroyed 2 more, so we got actually some 1,000 political points for clearing that roadway. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and move our armored vehicle up. I don't know, I'm kind of torn on having this Panama up front, because it's probably going to get destroyed. But is what it is, I guess. We at least know there's no Taliban troops in the southern section where we have this UAV up. But at least no one should be coming up behind us. Question is where the Taliban troops are in front of us. But at least we know these troops should be relatively safe. Meanwhile, this Panama is going to try. Move already? Yes, I did move these guys. Anyway. Our helo's starting to run low on fuel. We're going to go ahead and pick up these troops. We're going to fly them back toward the base with the few movement points we have left. It has none. You guys can't make it. All right. So that does it for turn number 3. 1 Taliban down. And what else still needs to move? Guys, some of these units haven't fully moved. They've all moved, but they haven't fully moved. So we'll go ahead and confirm. Taliban. Shit. Extra militia units have entered the theater. Warlords running riot. We can actually detect there's a Taliban unit just outside our firebase. All right, so we'll try and drop some arty on them. There you go. 600 political points for destroying them. They decided to come way too close to our base. They probably could have swamped. Well, we do have special forces there, so they could have defended it. But we just destroyed them. So second Taliban unit down. Well, actually, I don't know if it was Taliban. Take a look. It was a militia unit, actually. So 1 Taliban unit destroyed, 1 militia unit destroyed. Militias are kind of like private warlords in Afghanistan 11. They're not part of the Taliban itself. They're sort of separate men. They are hostile to you, but they're sort of separate. Our objective is to destroy Taliban presence, not necessarily militias. So again, we need to kind of clear this area of Taliban forces, of which we know there are 4 currently operating on the map. So that unit was destroyed. Good for us. Our helo up here in the north is low on fuel, so go ahead and fly it back to the base. This little fuel icon and the 1 fuel remaining means it has 2 turns worth of fuel left. So it should, both of these guys are almost out of fuel, but they should both, I think, be able to make it back to base. It would be pretty bad. Uh-oh, that's a long flight. It would be pretty bad if my helicopter crashed because I was stupid. But it wouldn't be the first time. You can also see these vehicles are starting to run low on fuel. That's why it's pretty important that we get our supply trucks here with the fuel up to the front. See, there are Panama going the way, leading the way. Now we're just hoping that no Taliban come in behind and ambush our convoy, or no militia either. They are entering, I'm going to say, quote-unquote, the safe zone. I don't know how safe it really is, but the zone where we've got the drone anyway, that should tell us if there's any hostile troops nearby. And some of these other vehicles, like the trucks, are going to be running low on fuel as well. But again, we've got the supply convoy coming up, so hopefully that's mitigated a little bit. Let's actually go ahead and drop off some of our troops up here. So we're going to move these guys next to the roadway. And go ahead and move this Warthog over here. So I'm kind of getting into the middle of this map here, into the middle of Taliban country, so that's why I'm starting to drop my troops. You can see here, this was a smart decision because we detected a enemy militia infantry unit. It's not Taliban, it's militia. But we detected militia, and we can go ahead and hopefully scimitar against them. That's 55% chance of success. Our infantry can engage them at a 64% chance, but the risk there is that you don't have a guarantee of success with your infantry. So they might have a better odds, but they also could be injured. So there's sort of an inherent risk there. So I'm actually going to go with the scimitar. I'm going to hope that the 50% chance of bombarding them from afar destroys them. It may just cause them to run. Not quite sure what happened there. Take a look at our intelligence. Yeah, we didn't destroy them. See here, still 1 and 1 militia casualty. So we blew up the area, but it doesn't look like we actually destroyed them. Kind of move our infantry off this way, side. Where's our Warthog? Warthog, that took damage? No, Panama took damage. All right, so we'll go ahead and sweep them north of the village. So you can't move. Go ahead and construct our fire base here. Fort operating base. Constructed over here. Starting to build it. Here you can see the British flag goes up on this dirt road in the north, sort of in the hunt in the center of Taliban, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and put my Panama inside that base for now. Move our Warthog in there too. Can't move my Scimitar. Put our other Warthog in there. Hopefully the enemy doesn't think to attack the base. Infantry units are all out of movement. Well, these other guys are down here as well. Hasn't moved. Warthog hasn't moved. Have rations. 4 units are garrisoned in here. 3 resupplies are stored at the base. Apparently we also get a mortar company automatically. Good. See, that mortar company gives us immediate fire support in the immediate vicinity. So good. All right, we'll end turn 4. Okay, so we detected more bad guys moving through the hills. Don't have airstrike available yet. Taliban, right? Yeah, it is. Move this guy into the village. He's detected an opium crop. Move these infantry up this way toward the opium crop. Drop some infantry. Let's do this. Cover this first. Let's go ahead and drop some infantry here. Hate the idea. All right, so we'll do this. We'll move our infantry unit into an ambush position. We will move these guys just a little bit. Shit. Really? That's all? So I already used up my fuel. Well, can we make it back? And it got destroyed. Lovely. All right, well, I just lost my first casualty. So that's kind of shitty. Just got my vehicle shot up. Ran over a mine. So the perils of trying to do convoy escorts, I guess. Oh shit. RPG! Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So because they interrupt him with an RPG strike, he's gonna crash for lack of fuel. Oh wait, no he's not. Just have to click back. It looked for a second like he was gonna run out of fuel out there. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and end this video. This is a first impressions video of Afghanistan 11. It's made by every single soldier. It is published by Matrix and Slitherine Games, and it is the Royal Marines DLC pack, which has just come out today. Let me know how you like this video, if this is something you'd like to see more of. It's an interesting counter-insurgency turn-based strategy game, but I'm not going to kind of turn this into an hour-long plus video. So my initial impressions, you got a whole new flavor of units that sort of are British specific. I think that's kind of interesting. You got a whole new set of scenarios which focus on the British effort in Afghanistan, and a whole slew of additional units and things like tacticals, which we really haven't seen yet, but will come up in, or civilian vehicles, which will come up in future videos, roadblocks, other things like that. We really haven't even scratched the surface of what's new in this game. We've really only focused on what is existing, and I've sort of been struggling to figure out what the right strategy is here to move through this this map and this mission. But it's a challenging game, at least for me. I enjoy it quite a bit, though, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. However, that'll do it for this episode, so until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.